Thank you. Said our next item is approval of agenda. Can I have a motion?
I move that the board approves the agenda as presented.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So tonight, our public hearing is focused on the proposed property tax levy notice, and this is our first hearing. And we are going to have Dave go ahead and give us some information about what Dr. Marlowe. Go ahead and speak a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, Mr. Nicholson is going to do a public hearing regarding our proposed property tax levy. And Mr. Nicholson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vice President Myers and Dr. Murillo and the board. Before the public comment portion of our public hearing, I'd like to give a brief overview of the proposed tax levy for the fiscal year 2027. This slide is the third year of the notice that has gone out to our property tax payers. And it gives a current property tax, the current tax rate, effective tax rate, which is if no dollars increased at all in the overall levy asking, and then proposed property tax and proposed tax rate for each taxing entity in the county. It also gives a public hearing times and location of the entity. This is just an example of the notice that people would have received. This is the actual public hearing notice that we are required to post on our website and our social media on March 5th. Okay, so it is. It shows our proposed property tax levy compared to the final property tax levy for the fiscal year 2026, our current year. It also provides the tax impact for residential property owners currently assessed at $100,000 with a 10% increase in assessed valuation, and then also the tax impact for commercial property owners with an assessed value of $300,000 with a 10% increase in valuation. And then it's important to note that down below here, we are required to show a reason for the increase, okay? But we are limited to 350 characters. So you have to be very brief and you can't go into a lot of detail. So it makes it a little bit difficult. Thus, why we're doing additional information tonight on this before the public hearing, before public comment. This is a slide talking about the budget guarantee. We are still seeing decline in enrollment here in Council Bluffs. Our enrollment dropped another 148 students this year, and couple this with the 2% assessed supplemental state aid, we are once again in the budget guarantee. So basically the budget guarantee gives us at least a 1% growth in our regular program budget from the current year to next year. It gives us time to make modifications to our budget because of that. Typically, this is also increases property tax budget guarantee does in a typical year, but this year the legislature has agreed to pick up the tab, and for us for this year the impact of that is about 17 cents that will lower our overall levy rate of our initial proposed asking. So on this slide here, you're seeing the trend of our property tax rates over since 2018 fiscal year to what we're proposing for next year. You can see that our levies have been as high as $17.24 back in FY19 and as low as $15.97, which is in FY25. What we're proposing now here, you have two columns here for FY27 for next year. You have a notice column that shows $16.47. That is the rate that we had in the notice, okay? And then also I have a column here of $16.30. The reason why I'm showing both columns is because the budget file that we had to build our budget in was not updated to reflect the legislature covering the budget guarantee dollars. Okay, so we had to post this prior to that was updated. So now that got updated, that actually dropped our levy a little over 17 cents. So that's why I'm showing both proposed columns. And moving forward, we'd be looking at the lower number, the 1630, not the 1647. The components of the property tax, the drivers of the property tax levy, you're looking at the general fund, and the overall levy is supposed to go down 20.24 cents, or almost 25 cents, okay? And it's composed of these main components of the general fund. It's the state foundation formula component of the levy. That is actually decreasing by 35 cents. The instruction support levy component is decreasing almost 14 cents. The SBRC, actually, there's two parts to the SBRC. You have the SBRC cash reserve levy and the SBR, and then I guess this one should be, say, reserve, cash reserve levy other, not SBRC. But the SBRC cash reserve levy is what we get authority back for things like special ed deficit and ELL deficits. So that is actually decreasing by 39 cents, and the other cash reserve levy is going up by 64 cents, and that's really for cash flow purposes to help our solvency ratio and fund balance. Go on to the PEPL fund, that's the other part of component that we have property taxes for. There's no change from the current year. It's 33 cents for the board levy and $1.34 for the voter approved levy. The management fund is where the bigger increase is happening. It's actually, it proposed to increase 50 cents over the current year. And that's because of our property casualty insurance premiums are going up, lines of coverage anywhere from 4% to 17% across the board. And our workers' compensation, we're looking at it between a 10 and 13% increase in workers' compensation. And our break fix insurance that we currently have, we're looking at expanding that to incorporate HVAC, and that will actually increase about, are asking about $733,000 for that. So overall, though, we are only looking at the net increase from the current year to the next year is looking at about 25% increase. Next step is the final budget will be adopted following the second public hearing at our next meeting, which is April 28th. Now, that's all I have for the quick update, and then you can go into public comment. Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the board? All right. So with that, is there anyone in the audience who would like to make any comments about the proposed property tax levy tonight? Go on up to the podium, please. Please state your name and your address for us.
My name's Robert Donahue. I live at 423 Stutzman Street in Council Bluffs. I got a 2% raise on my Social Security and my pensions. I'm 70 years old. That would be, if you went with 2% like I do, because my insurance went up, all my expenses went up, my food went up. That would be, you'd get a 1.25 million increase, but you're asking for 9 million, or approximately 16.9% or 16% increase. That's a lot more than my 2%. Now, a year ago,
Can you hear me?
a year ago, I came down here, you asked for 4.3%. So why you went from 4.3 to 16%? Whatever it's going to mean, I'm going to have to pay between you, the school board, or the school district, the county, and the city, and I've gone to all three of these meetings now. I'm going to end up with about $100 increase in my property tax on a $120,000 house. I retired over here because I took advantage of the tax advantage over Nebraska. I'm originally from Iowa, but I know the governor, I listened to the ex-mayor speak at the county meeting, and he said the governor had asked for everybody to keep it under 10%. Well, 16% is definitely well over the 10% the governor asked for. And I know whatever I say up here is not going to have any effect on your guys' decision. It didn't any time I've showed up here and talked. But $100 to somebody that's getting a 2% raise on their pensions and their Social Security, I'm sure the people who are retired through the school district under IPERS are not getting much more than a 2% increase. So 16%, and then last year you went 4.3%. So I mean, irregardless of the reasoning, it has to be, we have to live within our means. And with that, I'll rest.
Thank you. Yeah, if there's anybody else, come on up to the podium, please, and state your name and address for us.
Mary Jo Valentine, 1123 Arbor Ridge Drive, down there by Abraham Lincoln.
And this is pertaining specifically to the public hearing, correct?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Yes, okay, great.
Our special one.
Yes.
Thank you.
What I was wondering and have wondered in the past is why every time school districts, not every time, they come begging to the property tax again, over and over, instead of just doing a sales tax increase. Because sales tax increase, I know a lot of people say, well, that's the most regressive because poor people pay it. Well, the point is everybody pays sales tax, not just the homeowner. So I was wondering what decision, is that a local decision that's made when y'all need more money, budget 16%? You don't ever go to sales tax? Is that a decision by the school board, decision by the county?
Legislature.
Oh, okay. So every time the school board needs money, they just keep coming back to the property tax? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the audience? Come on up, please. And state your name and address. Thank
My name is
you.
Carl Brink. I live at 10 Patrick Circle. And first of all, Council Bluffs School is a wonderful school. All three of my children graduated from it, went on to college, and were very successful. Can you tell me the last time you didn't raise the budget for the school system? I'm guessing never. Is that true?
Yeah.
Or do you appear to be? You know, I came from the corporate world, and that is just non-acceptable. You know, you might be told, hey, you've got to cut 5% of your expenses this year. So it was a way of life for me. And I understand school system is different, but there comes a point where it's just, you can't finance it anymore. They do things that are wonderful, like for English as a second language, stuff like that. That's great, but there's an expense side. My single monthly expense, the biggest one I have retired, I'm 82 years old, is my taxes. It's the biggest, it's over $500 a month. I don't spend that much on anything else. I've had no children in the Council Bluffs school system for over 40 years. And in that 40 years, at my tax rate, I've paid $260,000. And a good share of that has went to Council Bluffs school system. As a retired person, there has to be a limit. And when you reach that limit, the only option you got is sell your house and go to a small town in some little smaller school. Somewhere you have to say enough is enough for older people. You know, I've been paying it since 82 years old now. I've been paying it my whole life. And it's got to be my single biggest expense and burden. And somewhere they got to start pulling back and realizing that even though some of the things that you do are wonderful, educating non-citizens, but the other side of that is my grandsons live in Omaha. If they want to come to Council Bluffs, they got to pay tuition. But we open up our checkbook to immigrants that aren't citizens, no cost to them whatsoever. Maybe they should look at doing that. I don't know. I am disappointed that it's forcing and changing my way of life. You know, when I retired 20 years ago, I thought I was in pretty good shape, but everybody's done the same thing. And I just think they need to look at it and say, hey, if it had to come out of my pocket, would I do this? You know, you increase every year. There's got to be a limit to it. So, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else from the audience that would like to speak tonight? on this matter? Okay. I don't see any more movement. Next one. Mhm. Yep. Sorry, double checking. Mhm. Yeah, come on up, thank you.
Name's Jeff Chanley, live at 19265 Council Lane. It seems, I was here last year when you raised taxes too. It seems like you just keep raising them every year. You guys can't manage money, apparently. I have to figure out how to pay my bills, especially with my kids and everything. That'll be starting Council School System pretty soon. We're all gonna be living down by the river with everybody else. If you guys really wanna see how bad it's getting, you guys should all walk down to 25th Street, go down Q, and look at all the homeless people and how bad it is down there. The rest of us are going to be down there with them. You guys should take a walk down there and see how bad it is.
Will there
Right,
be more
thank
meetings?
you.
Or is this the only one projected?
There will be more. Yep, it was, if you did not see it, I know it's not on the slide here, but yes,
Okay,
April
thank you.
28th, yeah. Mhm. So anybody else? All right, well, thank you for those of you that shared your comment with us tonight. We appreciate it. I will go ahead and close this public hearing session, and we will get ready to open up our next meeting for tonight. All right.
20%, let's just call it what it is.
So I'm going to go ahead and open the Council Bluffs Boards of Directors workshop meeting for tonight. So let the record show that all board members are present, and we have Jared Tripp, who is virtual with us. Secretary, can you please go ahead and do roll call for us?
Mrs. Greiner. Present. Ms. Hardeman.
Present.
Ms. Myers.
Present.
Dr. Ozello. Present. Mr. Peters.
Present.
Mr. Kozire.
Present.
Mr. Tripp.
So we are going to have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you can stand, if you are able, please go ahead. And we will have a moment of silence. And the pledge? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the next item on our agenda is approval of agenda. So if we can have a motion.
I move that we approve the agenda as published.
I will second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, we'll move to our next item. Our next item is approval of minutes from the work session and regular business meetings of March 24th, 2026, and special meeting and closed session of March 30th in 2026. Do we have a motion?
I move that the minutes from the closed session and regular business meetings of January 27th, 2026 to be approved as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the motion passes.
Oh, I think the recommended action wasn't updated on that. It was actually meetings of March 24th and March 30th. Sorry, I read the bottom one that said January 27th.
Oh, it does, yes, good check. Thank you, Patrick. See if- All right, so now we have time for public participation. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board regarding agenda items or any other matters of concern for this meeting. So do we have, I see we have one here that came in, Mary Jo, if she is still here. Mary Jo Valentine. We saw you had a request to speak tonight.
Oh,
So if you would like to,
that would be somebody would call me about that issue.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you for
That's easy enough.
clarifying. Yeah, do we have any other members of the audience who'd like to come and speak? All right, as I see no movement, I will turn it over to Dr. Merlo for superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Foster to join us at the podium. Tonight, we're going to celebrate some of our staff members that are here with us this evening, and I will turn that over to Ms. Foster, and then we'll meet her in just a moment out there to celebrate.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening. First, I would like to thank the Council Bluffs Community Schools Foundation for their generous support of these awards. We'll start with our licensed staff member of the month, Ms. Rachel Rommel, reading interventionist for Longfellow Elementary. Rachel, could you join us? Her principal, Devin Schoening, and several of her colleagues nominated Rachel, and they say that Rachel is always willing to help in any way that she can. She is a natural teacher and has great relationships with students. Her students trust her and want to spend time with her during group lessons. Rachel is always seeking ways to help her students, and she is very knowledgeable and a strong team member. She is respectful and kind to everyone she comes across. She takes a genuine interest in students and learns personal things to help build relationships. She supports her fellow staff members by always being willing to assist with subbing or duties and deserves to be recognized for all of her efforts that she puts forth. Rachel is always willing to step up and help out wherever something is needed. She goes above and beyond her duties. She meets kids where they are and ensures their needs are met. In the library each morning, she holds kids accountable, is creative with creating plans for them, meets one-on-one for reading groups if they need it. She has such a warm and kind spirit. I see her working with students with such care. Rachel is an asset to our Longfellow family. Congratulations, Rachel. And Devin Schoening, her principal, is joining her. Okay, next up is our support staff member of the month. This month, it's Kathleen Butte, our night custodian at Wilson Middle School. Nominated by Joanna Letts, her principal, and several of her colleagues, they say, Kathleen is an amazing person and puts in her best work day in and day out. I love spending time chatting with her as well. She has been working hard training new custodial staff and is always a positive face in the hallway. Kathleen is one of the hardest working people I have ever met in my life. She continuously works to make Wilson a clean and safe space for everyone. My room is spotless every morning when I walk into school. Kathleen is also great about holding positive conversations that uplift my day, especially after some of the toughest days at Wilson. I'm so thankful to have Kathleen here. Kathleen does a really good job being professional, friendly, and sets a good example for the new custodians. I love how she talks to the newer, younger custodians because she's able to provide them with feedback that is positive and useful. Kathleen always shows her beautiful smile each afternoon once classes are over, which conveys a positive energy. Her joy is contagious and makes the day brighter and lighter. Congratulations, Kathleen. And our principal, Joanna Letts, and her supervisor, Aaron Rang. And Torsten Stahl.
Everybody else got to up their game.
Are we good?
I'm gonna go one round.
Big congratulations to our licensed and supports staff of the month. I always think it is a great part of our meeting, and it's something I always love to see and hear about, the work that's going on in our schools and who helps make it be a great place.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Colmine to the podium. We have the pleasure this evening of presenting on our district career and academic plan for the 25-26 school year. This is required by the state, but we are excited to share this report. So, Ms. Colmine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Murillo, and good evening, Vice President Myers and members of the board. In Iowa, the District Career and Academic Plan, also most commonly referred to as the DCAP, is a required framework for all school districts outlining how we support each student's individualized career and academic plan. Its purpose is to ensure students are prepared for post-secondary success through a structured multi-year career development process. In our district, we have been intentional in how we approach our DCAP. We do not see it as a matter of compliance, but as an opportunity to bring our district vision to life. Our work is directly aligned to District Strategic Goal 2, ensuring every graduate is future ready, and is designed to create meaningful outcomes for all students. As Dr. Murillo mentioned, it is a requirement by the Iowa Department of Education that the DCAP is presented annually to the Board of Education. I do give you an update as I did in January earlier this year, but at this time I would like to invite our Coordinator of Career and Technical Education, Ms. Schmedding, to the podium to present this year's plan, and also John to put our PowerPoint up. Okay, good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Comine, and thank you to the board for allowing me to share the good work happening again in our secondary schools around career and academic planning. My name is Kathy Schmedding. I'm the coordinator of career and technical education for the district. Fun fact, I came in the exact same year as Dr. Murillo, so this is year 9 for me in the district. But I like to share, my passion is really in career and academic planning. I was a former career and technical education teacher, school counselor, so it's something we're super passionate about. And as a CB graduate, I want to share that as well, that we're passionate about this work and what we're providing for our kids in career and academic planning in our secondary programs. So, as previously shared, our district's career and academic plan is connected to Strategic Goal 2, that each student is future ready, working towards that high school diploma and a second credential. Our purpose for tonight's presentation is to review the district career and academic plan, share our current goals and implementation, and then our identified next steps, along with brief recognition, which you will hear about at the end of the presentation tonight. As shared, our district career and academic plan is guided by state legislation that is focused around post-secondary readiness. Our last 2 recent legislative updates have included that career and academic planning is beginning as early as 5th grade now, and that's identified in that Section 8 middle school. And then that we also have the submission of a K-12 comprehensive school counseling plan. Annually, our district plan is reviewed by our regional planning partnerships. We refer to that as RPP 13, which consists of multiple team and school leadership from districts around the area. On this slide, you can see that over the past 3 years, our consistent work towards post-secondary readiness has shown growth and exceeds local and regional comparison. This year, our DCAP scored a 32 out of 36 possible points. Our strong focus on strategic goals, rather than just compliance, are clearly reflected in our student outcomes and the programming that we're providing for our secondary students. I believe that our results speak for themselves when looking at our student impact, and our secondary students are really engaging in career and academic planning through multiple different metrics. That is concurrent enrollment through Iowa Western Community College and DMAC. That is through career-connected learning, where students have the opportunity to explore multiple career fields. And then also that work-based learning, where students are getting industry experience in that workplace setting. So as we begin another year,
based on feedback, the Department of Education has revised the evaluation process again for the 25-26 school year. The required sections identified by the Department of Education are that annual school board review, which brings us here tonight, career-connected and work-based learning, that middle school section 8, which includes grades 5, 6, and 7, and then also that K-12 comprehensive school counseling plan, which those latter two are submitted but not formally evaluated for this school year. In addition, each district will choose one essential component to work on. They will have 2 years to really plan, implement, and then evaluate that essential component. As our team has discussed, we are looking forward to this opportunity. As Dr. Murillo says, go slow to go fast, making sure that we're really intentional on that work. Again, it's all on our strategic goals. That we're really intentional within that work and that students are having the best career and academic planning experience. With the new evaluation method, our teams really had the opportunity to reflect on our strong goals over the past 3 years. We have built a scaffolded goal system and then also a framework that supports career and academic planning across all different systems. Like I said, we know we have a strong support system in place. Our data is currently supporting this work. Our new evaluation method is really about that continuous improvement process and giving us 2 years to really dive in. Our career and academic goals moving forward include officially integrate career investigation, connection, and intention, that middle school section 8, into the district plan for grades 5 through 7, ensuring age-appropriate, progressive career awareness and exploration that aligns with that K-12 comprehensive career curriculum. Develop a system to ensure that industry-recognized credentials earned by our graduating seniors are transferable, aligned to state and national standards, and then clearly documented for post-secondary institutions and employers. That's what's governed by the state legislation. Align that elementary and secondary school counseling program to again create that cohesive K-12 comprehensive school counseling plan. And then lastly, provide more hands-on intentional career information activities, that essential component number 2, for special populations, specifically in special education and English language learners, to ensure all students have intentional access to career exploration, planning, and post-secondary readiness opportunities. Again, in summary, our overall career and academic planning framework will remain the same. Our students are engaging in activities that support the completion of their ICAP through building-wide advisory lessons, those individual one-on-one student planning, our career and technical education curriculum, and then those district-wide post-secondary readiness activities that are provided. But now we're going to have 2 years to be really intentional on that goal 2 and look through that lens of special education and ELL students, how we're really tying in those supports, and then how that is documented through that comprehensive K-12 counseling plan. This work is ensuring that all students are supported by staff, all resources, and continue to move towards post-secondary readiness. So our implementation timeline, we're here tonight, but this started all the way back in August and September when district leadership reviewed our DCAP results and feedback, and then that new legislation that we received for the 25-26 school year. In October, under the supervision of Ms. Comine, district leadership reviewed the results at the building level, which include our career and technical education teachers and our school counselors. In November, we assembled our DCAP team, which includes school counselors, teachers, we included special education administrators, and district leadership, where we attended the Green Hills AEA DCAP training for us to really learn more about what that new evaluation process was going to look like. And then in January, we really got the ball rolling, where we had our DCAP planning day with our school counselors. We completed a SWOT analysis and a needs assessment to help us develop those 2-year goals and start mapping out what that implementation looked like. In February, we started our consultation with the Department of Special Education, where we hosted multiple professional developments around career and academic planning with our special education teachers and our school counselors. And then on the reverse, members of our DCAP team attended the Department of Special Education's IDEA meeting to ensure that we had those consistent goals across the table and we were all moving towards post-secondary readiness. And lastly, we had the opportunity to really work with our elementary counselors, which was a whole new realm for me. I've lived in secondary for a long time. But really for them to have the opportunity to look at their fifth grade counseling programs, and then how do we align that with that grade 5 through 7 in that middle school section 8. In March, our career and technical education teachers, we held our spring annual business advisory meeting where we got to share career and academic data with our advisory and industry partners, and then also start to complete our comprehensive local needs assessment. I'm here tonight, as it's April, to give this board presentation and share our DCAP data. And then you'll also hear shortly again at the end of the presentation about a Partnership of Year award that was developed in recognition through our DCAP team. And then in May, our seniors will receive their industry-recognized credential seals upon their high school graduation. Finally, now, most of this work has been happening internally, but I would remiss to not highlight the collaboration that our DCAP team has had with Diane and her communications department, where together we prepared informational materials that appeared in the Winter Achieve magazine, which I believe are in your board packets today, and that was focused around post-secondary readiness. We felt it was important not just to educate our students, not just to educate our board, but to really let the community and our stakeholders know what does it mean to be post-secondary ready as a student in the Council Bluffs Community School District, and then how does that vision come to life through our Diploma Plus One planning. So our next steps, remember we have a 2-year cycle on this, so when planning for the 26-27 school year, we've identified our next steps to provide some professional development for our school counselors, to further explore that Ask a National model and how we can identify those strategies for a district-wide implementation of that K-12 comprehensive school counseling plan. We're looking forward to establishing a strong partnership with the newly hired secondary special education specialist. That's a mouthful, that one. But to strengthen that alignment between that career and academic planning that we have going on with those IEP transition goals to make sure that we have that coordinated support and programming for all students towards post-secondary readiness. And then lastly, beginning next year, to expand that partnership with the Department of English and Language Learners, replicate how we started with our special education, and then implement that into the next school year. So before I call Ms. Comine back to the podium, are there any questions for me?
Not necessarily a question, but a comment that I really enjoy hearing you talk about our English language learners and our kids with IEPs, and that you're really focusing on our community needs, and it's something that we've discussed as a board, and I love that it's reflected through all of your work and the district's work as well. So thank you.
A bit of a brief comment and then a question. I'd also just, I especially, one of the things I always enjoy hearing a lot about is the industry recognized credentials that we talk through. We do have, we've heard quite a bit about the IRCs, but we have several members of the public who maybe aren't here quite as often. Could you possibly go through just a couple of the recognized credentials that we offer, like our welding certificates or some of our other options?
Sure, absolutely. To provide a bit of context, it's a state-approved list. Every year, there's room for the application to add more. Last year, we've shared in prior board meetings that we had 6 IRCs that were placed on the list. So some that include would be a seal of biliteracy, our OSHA 10, our ACT Work Keys assessment that NCRC is also new, our CNA, so students completing that certification. So it's a nationally recognized certification that students would be earning that they can carry with them post-graduation.
Nice.
Very similar to our D+1.
I have one more question that you answered pretty much almost all of it, but you mentioned earlier on that we're putting together a system to make sure that our recognized credentials are compatible and are transferable out of state. Are there any concerns with the ones that we already have, that there might be any that might not be transferable, or do you think?
No.
I had a feeling, but I wanted to ask.
especially since they're on that state-approved list.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you.
So currently, our 6th and 7th graders choose 32 of modules over those 2 years in the career exploration that they can explore those different careers. Going down to the 5th grade then, that will expand, I would assume, to allow those students to choose modules, I guess, that they would be interested in as a career.
To make sure I'm answering your question correctly, as of right now, the college and career exploratory labs will still stay in that middle school. So they're in that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. What we're looking at is how our school counselors, they're delivering guidance curriculum as a special during the day, making sure that we're meeting those standards that are within the middle school section. I hope that helps answer your question. Okay. Thank you. Seeing there's not any more, I'd like to call Ms. Comine back to the podium, Chief of Secondary Schools, to share our Work-Based Learning Partnership Award.
Thank you, Ms. Schmedding. As shared during the DCAP presentation, over the past 4 years, we have been really intentional about lining our Business Advisory Committee partners with our Diploma Plus One and CTE pathways. And through this focused effort, we have tripled the number of career-connected learning experiences available to our students, including valuable work-based learning experiences. To recognize and celebrate the partners who make this possible, our district established the Work-Based Learning Partnership of the Year Award. This recognition, spearheaded by our DCAP team, honors industry professionals who go above and beyond in their support of our students, staff, and programs. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Murillo and Vice President Lauren Myers to join me at the podium to formally present the award, similar to what we do with our star students and staff members of the month. I would also like to welcome Christy Nicolaisen, our Work-Based Learning Coordinator, to share more about this inaugural award and to introduce this year's honoree.
Thank you, Ms. Comine. Over the past 2 years, one of the key priorities in career and academic planning has been strengthening work-based learning opportunities for our students. We are fortunate to have many dedicated partners who generously invest their time and expertise in our schools. Beginning this year, we are proud to recognize those contributions through our Work-Based Learning Business Partner of the Year Award. It's my honor to announce that the inaugural recipient of this award is Rasmussen Mechanical Services. Rasmussen Mechanical was founded by Irvin Rasmussen in 1970 as a small home-based heating and air conditioning business. Under the leadership of Bruce Rasmussen, the company grew into a leading commercial and industrial contractor in the Midwest. Today, Rasmussen Mechanical remains a proud third-generation family-owned business with Brian Rasmussen as its CEO. Through our collaboration with Dee Rouleau, the talent partner at Rasmussen Mechanical, we have created numerous opportunities for students to explore careers in the HVAC field. Rasmussen has quickly become one of our most valued industry partners. Some highlights of this partnership include collaborating on HVAC curriculum and industry needs, including their refurbishing 4 HVAC training units with 2 at each high school, and developing teacher-friendly training and student resources. Supporting career-connected learning through guided tours of AL and TJ boiler rooms, helping students understand real-world HVAC systems. Hosting teachers and job shadow students at their facility to provide exposure to industry equipment and practices. Serving as guest speakers in TradeWorks classes at both high schools and with our high school students at Iowa Western, connecting with students' HVAC career pathways. These are just a few of the examples and the many ways that Rasmussen Mechanical has supported our students and programs. Their commitment, expertise, and partnership have made a meaningful and lasting impression. I would now like to introduce them and have the representatives from Rasmussen Mechanical who are here this evening to come forward. We have with us tonight Bruce Rasmussen, President, Brian Rasmussen, CEO, Josh Madsen, HVAC Service Manager, and Dee Rouleau, Talent Partner. Their commitment to education and workforce development is truly appreciated. Please join me in congratulating Rasmussen Mechanical Services as our Work-Based Learning Partner of the Year.
I go 2 rows.
Well, yeah.
2 rows would be fantastic.
To your left. Scoot to your left, just a tap it. Okay, does that get us centered? Okay. Are we good?
Yes, same thing.
Congratulations. Thank you. I'm doing well. Congratulations.
Nice to meet you. Sorry, I'm not standing. Big difference. Everything you guys do. That's an impressive list of things.
Yes. We want to congratulate and thank again Bruce and his team for all of your work. Thank you. Thank you for being a great partner for our students here in the Council Bluffs Schools. We have one more presentation this evening. Our informational presentation this evening will be led by Mr. Hamilton, and I love it when he presents on District 4 because it's all about our students and the work that we're doing around culture and climate. So, Mr. Hamilton, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Murillo and Board. I am always happy to come and present on District Goal 4 because it really does showcase the work that we're doing to ensure each student is supported and connected. We've talked many times over the years about how important it is to make sure our kids are supported and connected so they can reach their highest academic potential. So tonight I'm going to talk about 3 of the areas that are really related to Goal 4. So first of all, I'm going to speak about attendance. Remember, our data point for attendance is 80% of our students will attend school at least 90% of the time. I'm going to talk about our student surveys. We give those surveys twice a year. We just finished doing it in March. So those data points are 100% of students will report that they have at least one caring adult at their school, and 85% of students will report that they like school. And then the last piece I'm going to talk about that isn't directly related to a data point, but I think it's very important to the work that we're doing, is really around Safe and Civil Schools. And Safe and Civil Schools is our overarching partner that we use for our foundations teams, champs in discipline in secondary classrooms, and foundation learning walks. So I want to talk first about attendance. So we put a challenge out there. Dr. Murillo wanted to do this idea of attend dance celebrations. So I worked with the schools and we came up with a little bit something different because our middle schools and high schools were not interested in holding a dance, but we did want to celebrate attendance. And one of the pieces that we're looking at attendance is we're reducing our chronic absenteeism. So we went to each school and we said, hey, we're going to do a challenge. We're going to look at your attendance from the end of first semester last year, thank you, to the end of first semester this year. And the school that had the largest decrease in students chronically absent were going to win. We had a school from an AL feeder elementary, a TJ feeder elementary, and then one secondary school. So Edison Elementary was our TJ feeder elementary school. Edison came in at over 2% decrease in chronic absenteeism. Now they're doing this under the guide of a new principal, Mrs. Midkiff, and a new counselor, Mrs. Berg. So this is awesome. So I wanted to showcase a little bit what they did. They had a donut miss a day of school day. So each kid got to come through and have a delicious Hy-Vee glazed donut. They got to do some art projects. They got to play some games in the gym. And Bryce was there taking pictures at a photo booth. What I like best is this is their social media post that they sent out to each schools, really celebrating the work that the school's doing. The teachers are doing the work. Everybody's doing the work. Of course, it was supported by Rachel Horton and Student and Family Services, but it's really the school doing the work. Our AL feeder elementary was Lewis and Clark Elementary. They had a show up and glow party. Now, what you need to know about Lewis and Clark, not only did they have the largest increase on the AL feeder schools, they also had the highest percentage overall of attendance of school. So not only are kids showing up, but they have improved on their chronic absenteeism as well. The show up and glow party was really fun. We turned off all the lights in the gym and they had those glow lights in there, and I'm not quite sure the science of how it works, but it's really awesome. So you can see by the pictures, it's kind of hard to get pictures when you do that, but they gave away T-shirts, they had snacks in their classrooms, and they got to come to the gym. Mrs. Vala, you can see her on the far right in the pink. She was amazing. She had to be so tired after that day. She was leading dances. She was playing games. The kids really loved it. We did 3 different groups coming through, so about 3 hours worth of show up and glow. Our secondary school that had the most improvement was Woodrow Wilson, and you can see their social media posts there. They really were like, we are the most improved secondary school in the district. The day we did it, we had snacks and social hours, so they got to do some activities within their advisement classes. The day we did it happened to be like one of those days that it was so nice outside, and you know they have all that green space right outside Wilson, so most of the kids were going outside and doing fun activities outside. Every kid and every teacher got to come through and have popcorn, cookies, and juice, and we hung out in the cafeteria with them, and it was a great afternoon at Wilson. So that's highlighting some of our attendance celebrations and some of the work that we've been doing there. Next, I wanted to talk about student surveys. So as you can see, our goal is to have 100% of our kids report that they have a caring adult. You can see that this is broken down from the fall of 23 to the spring of 26. The blue lines are our elementary schools, and the red are our secondary schools. So this spring, so just in March, and I always worry a little about it in the spring because it is March. So some years we have a spring break, some years we don't, but we typically take it before the spring break. So I worry that everybody gets a little tired in March, but I was very, very pleased with the results that you see here. 97% this spring is the highest we've ever had in elementary. Shout out to Longfellow. They are our first school ever. 100% of kids said that they had a caring adult. Yeah, that's awesome. I wish Mr. Schoening would have stayed. That was awesome. We had several other elementary schools that were like 2 and 3 kids away from 100%. So you know this is a moment in time survey. So the fact that those kids, 100% of them answered that day or that time when they took it, that they had a caring adult is pretty awesome. It's the highest we've ever seen in elementary. Like I said, it's the second highest in secondary. We keep creeping closer and closer. Just little bits, we'll take it. A little bit of growth each time is awesome. The next question is, do you like school? We're looking for 85%. People ask me, well, why does this one not break down into elementary and to secondary? The reason why is we've been asking this question of our kids for a long time. Those of you who have been around a while, when we were doing the OAS survey and Panorama surveys, we were asking this question, and I always gave it to you as a district, so that's why I continue to show you as a district. One of the things I worry about when we do this, again, do you like school? You see fall, spring, those first couple years that I report here, there was always a drop, right? It went from 80% to 72, 80% to 78. The great part the last 2 years is we haven't seen the drop, and we've actually seen an increase. 84% is the highest we've ever been, and it was there in fall and spring. We're knocking on the door of that 85%. So very happy with that. So I do want to talk, I'm going to give a little more data, but before I do, I want to preface it with the work that we're doing with Safe and Civil Schools. Like I said earlier, Safe and Civil Schools is really, when we look at our multi-tiered systems of support and we're supporting student behavior, Safe and Civil Schools is the tool we're using, the professional development we're providing for our staff to really meet the needs of kids. So 3 things I want to highlight is each school continues to have a foundation team. That foundation team is made up of teachers, paras, nutrition staff, anybody in the building who wants to represent the school. They're meeting at least monthly to really look at not only classroom behavior, but school-wide behavior, what's going on in their building and what needs to change, following that continuous improvement cycle of looking at each thing multiple times throughout the year. CHAMPS and DSC. So CHAMPS is really our classroom model for behavior. DSC is discipline in secondary classrooms. It's our classroom model for behavior. We have, and I think this is amazing, but I'm a little biased. We have over 100 staff members trained to be coaching CHAMPS. So these are our mentors, our instructional coaches, our behavior consultants, district administrators who are trained on coaching CHAMPS. So they are the ones who are supporting our teachers each and every day in the classroom to make sure they're teaching expectations for kids and kids are following those expectations. And maybe when kids don't follow expectations, which it does happen, what are we going to do about it? How do we support them? And then just like we do our English language arts learning walks and our math learning walks twice a year, we're doing we call them our foundations learning walk, which again is really looking at twice a year in each building, which is really looking at our school-wide expectations, how we meet the needs of kids school-wide, our kids safe in our buildings, and our classroom expectations. So with that, probably some of I think, the data I'm most proud of. So since we've implemented foundations in safe and civil schools, our first year was 22-23, and I compared it to 24-25. We've seen a 30% decline in students referred to the office for behavior. Now, I'm not going to jinx it, but I'm going to say we'll be even lower this year because I pull the data monthly and share it with schools. We'll be even lower this year, but I didn't want to jinx ourselves. So a 30% decline in 2 years in students referred to the office for behavior. And not only that, we've seen a 25% decrease in students suspended in those 2 years since we've implemented safe and civil schools. And again, that will be even lower after this school year, and I'll present that data at a next meeting. So I want to end with this quote. When we talk about ensuring kids are supported and ensuring that they're safe, one of the things that says is, we're a school, but at the end, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. That's what we're supposed to be doing at schools. That's what we do when we're ensuring students are supported and connected. With that, I would answer any questions.
I think I say this almost every time you present, the stats on, kids liking school and feeling you have a caring adult is, to me, that's the stat that I follow most closely. We go through MAP test results and everything else, but I feel like if the students don't have a caring adult, and if they're not engaged, if they're not connected, it's just that much harder to get, our other test results, and our other assessments up. So I just commend the work that you and your team are doing. It's fantastic work so far to hear, especially a school with 100% that have a caring adult. That's exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic work, Mr.
Thank you.
Hamilton.
It's a great team, and like I said, it's people out in the building who are doing the work who this is the work we do every single day, so it's important. So thank you for recognizing that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton.
Jared,
Did Jared have a stand up?
So that was awesome. Congratulations. Good work on that, Tim. It's amazing numbers to hear.
I echo all of that. Some great information presentations tonight and celebrations of staff, so it's always amazing. So with that, I will close our workshop meeting tonight. We are adjourned.